Britain won World War II, but lost everything. And the shocking truth? They didn't finish paying the bill until 2006. Most people think winning a war means coming out on top. But what if I told you Britain's victory in World War II was the beginning of its downfall? The country that stood alone against Hitler ended up stripped of its wealth, its empire, and its future by its closest ally. This is the story of how America didn't just help Britain win the war. It bought the British Empire piece by piece while London burned. December 1940. London is on fire. German bombs rain down night after night. Families hide in subway stations while their homes crumble above. But the real nightmare isn't in the streets. It's inside the underground war rooms beneath Whitehall. Winston Churchill sits at his desk, facing a problem more terrifying than the Luftwaffe. Britain is completely bankrupt. Not struggling. Not in debt. Utterly broke. He has to write a letter to Franklin Roosevelt, begging for money to survive. Think about it. Britain ruled a quarter of the planet. British banks financed the world. The Royal Navy controlled the seas. And now Churchill is begging like someone who can't pay rent. The letter is long and carefully worded, but the message is simple. We have no money. Help us or we're finished. Britain went into war wealthy. Gold in vaults. Massive stakes in global industry. But Hitler's war was a war of machines. Tanks, planes, ships, submarines, all requiring steel, oil, aluminum, rubber. Britain didn't have enough resources. Almost everything had to be imported from America, which was officially neutral. American laws forbade loans. Britain had to pay cash up front and ship it themselves. Gold on the table before the crates left the dock. Britain started bleeding gold. Every ounce of it. In a secret operation called Operation Fish, the British government moved billions in gold and securities across the U-boat-infested Atlantic to Canada. It was the largest movement of physical wealth in history. By late 1940, Britain had nothing left. Contracts for planes and tanks sat unsigned. There was literally no money to pay for survival. Little did Britain know, this was just the beginning of a 60-year financial chain. When Roosevelt got Churchill's letter, he knew the stakes. If Britain fell, Europe and eventually the US could be next. But he faced a problem. American law didn't allow direct aid. The public would revolt. Roosevelt spun a story: if your neighbor's house is on fire, you lend him your garden hose. He'll return it when the fire is out. Sounds neighborly, right? But behind closed doors, this was a bank foreclosing on a desperate client. Henry Morgenthau Jr., the U.S. Treasury Secretary, ran the negotiations. He hated fascism and wanted Britain to survive, but he also had to protect American taxpayers. Before one penny was sent, Britain had to prove it had sold every asset it owned. Every factory, railroad, and share of stock. Morgenthau treated Britain like a failed company in bankruptcy court, not a fighting ally. One of the hardest hits was the American Viscose Corporation. Owned by the British company Courtaulds, it was the largest manufacturer of rayon in the U.S., generating millions for London every year. Morgenthau demanded it be sold. Britain resisted. The company was worth double the final sale price. But the Lend-Lease Act hung in the balance. Britain had no choice. They sold it under pressure. Millions went straight to the U.S. Treasury. This was the moment the British elite realized the true cost of the so-called special relationship. They weren't partners. They were being stripped to survive. Money wasn't the only cost. Britain desperately needed destroyers. Roosevelt agreed, but for a price. In exchange for 50 old, barely functional ships, the U.S. demanded 99-year leases on naval and air bases across the Atlantic, from Newfoundland to the Bahamas. Britain had handed over the keys to its empire in the Western Hemisphere for 50 rusty ships. It was a geopolitical fire sale, and it was only getting started. By March 1941, Britain was picked clean. Gold gone. Investments sold. Bases leased. Treasury empty. Lend-Lease appeared noble. It provided tanks, planes, and food. But buried inside was Article 7, a poison pill. Britain had to dismantle the imperial preference system that protected its empire's trade. Markets like Canada, Australia, India, South Africa were now open to American goods. Britain signed away the rules that kept its empire rich. Once America officially joined the war, its factories exploded in output. Britain's factories churned only war material, Spitfires, tanks. But American factories made war and consumer goods for the global market. By 1944, the financial center of the world had shifted to Washington. Gold moved to Fort Knox. Britain's commercial future had been sold off piece by piece. Britain expected gratitude after victory. They assumed Lend-Lease would continue. They were wrong. August 15, 1945, Japan surrenders. Victory celebrations in London. 7 days later, Truman terminates Lend-Lease. It stops instantly. American ships carrying supplies turn back mid-ocean. The lifeline is cut. Britain is left financially shattered. John Maynard Keynes calculated disaster. Without Lend-Lease, Britain would face mass starvation, unemployment, and social collapse. He went to Washington, sick and exhausted, asking for a grant. Not a loan, a gift. Justice for Britain's sacrifice. The Americans refused. Only a commercial loan with interest was offered. Conditions were brutal, including sterling convertibility, a financial weapon designed to break the British economy. Keynes' health failed under the stress. He died months later. Britain survived, but at what cost? Winter 1947. Blizzards. Coal froze. Power stations shut down. Factories closed. Bread rationed, even more than during the war. The convertibility trap worked exactly as Keynes predicted. Hundreds of millions vanished. Britain hemorrhaged financially. The empire had tried to play by the American rules, and was crushed. Britain's war debt wasn't over in the 1940s. The Anglo-American Loan became a mortgage spanning generations. Payments continued through the 1950s boom, the 1970s slump, the Thatcher years, the Blair years. The final payment? December 29, 2006. 60 years after the victory parades, British taxpayers were still paying for the privilege of surviving World War II. Total war is a negative-sum game. Germany lost. Britain won, but was bankrupt. The United States? The real winner. Factories never bombed. 2/3 of the world's gold. Lend-Lease and post-war loans dismantled the British Empire's trade system. Britain had saved Western civilization, but its empire was sold off piece by piece. When Churchill wrote that letter in 1940, he saved his country, but traded Britain's future for survival. It was noble but expensive. Everything was for sale.